Hi, everyone. I'm Shelly, and you're watching There's No Place Like Home. Now that we are on our 6 week break, which goes from Thanksgiving to the day after New Year's or the first Monday after New Year's, I've been encountering a lot of questions from people about how we do our breaks in homeschool and almost trying to justify the fact that we have a 6 week break at this time of year rather than just in the summertime. So today I really wanted to just talk about how homeschool breaks really aren't breaks. I've had several conversations within the past couple weeks since we started our break, which was last week. We usually start the week of Thanksgiving. And people will ask me what we're doing for homeschool or if we have any field trips planned. And I explain to them that we are actually off of doing school until the day after New Year's. And this gets a lot of curious looks from people who don't understand homeschooling, people who really don't understand how learning actually happens because they are so used to just the way that we've all been told that, kids learn in school and they can only learn in school if they're actually in school. And if they're not in school, they must not be learning anything, right? So yeah, I've found myself having to almost justify the fact that my children are not going to be doing any structured schoolwork for the next 6 weeks. And so I really thought that it was important to just bring up the fact that learning does not just start and stop when you are doing structured learning time in your homeschool. Learning doesn't even start and stop with kids who are in school. And unfortunately, that's how most of their parents see things. School is for learning, and anything else you do outside of school must not be learning, right? Because there's no homework, there's no assignments, there's no teacher, there's no leaving the house for 7 hours a day. So really, I've been having a difficult time explaining to some people that what we are doing in our homeschool is perfectly acceptable. And so a lot of times I've been, just trying to reassure them, saying, well, we do start our new homeschool year in July, and this gives us more freedom to do breaks when we want, to take longer breaks, to take more frequent breaks. And that usually, kind of alleviates some of the anxiety that they have about my children not doing school for 6 weeks. But I think it's so important that we start really pointing out to people that learning isn't something that only looks one way. Sure, my kids have not been doing structured learning in the past 2 weeks, but they have been baking, they've been drawing, they've been visiting people, they've been going on field trips, they've been reading, they have been doing crossword puzzles, search words. Tonight they will be going to Awana and youth group. They've been watching documentaries. The list goes on and on for what my kids have been doing that might not look like what most people see as learning, but actually is learning, and in fact is likely much more retainable learning for children because it is things that they enjoy. And I'm a huge advocate for self-directed learning. I talk about self-directed learning on my channel all the time. And the only reason that we don't do self-directed learning all the time, full time, is just because I have a larger family, and the structure that we do have with a relaxed homeschool day really does help us out. But that in no way means that self-directed learning is not rewarding for children, and in fact is going to help them to really understand the things that they want to know about, because it is something that they are choosing to do. And so I really think that, especially, I know that a lot of homeschooling families do take longer breaks at this time of year, and you might be encountering questions from your family, well-meaning questions from your family or from your neighbors or maybe from people at your church about how your kids can be taking such a long break. And we keep, especially with everything that's been going on with the schools being shut down and everything, constantly seeing things about learning loss. And that is not something that I worry about as a homeschooling parent. As a homeschooling parent, I understand that my children are learning all around them. There is learning happening all the time. And just because it doesn't look a certain way does not mean that it isn't valuable for your children. So When I talk about having breaks in our homeschool, because I talk about the Sabbath schedule that we use, and we usually start our new homeschool year the second week of July, and then we do school for 6 weeks, and then we will take a 1 week break, and then we do school for 6 weeks, and we take a 1 week break. And so when I say break, I'm meaning more of a break for me, I guess, because I'm not having to plan for that 1 week. I'm not having to say, okay, guys, we're doing this, 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 and this each and every day. It does not mean, though, that they are taking a break from attaining new knowledge, because if you allow your children to just have free time, if you fill your house with interesting things that your children will enjoy, your children will be learning things. It might not be in a spelling book, it might not be in a language arts book or on a math website, unless they're playing math games, because my kids do enjoy some of the math games that they have on ctcmath.com, which is what we use. But the fact remains is that when it comes to homeschooling, there really is no such thing as a break, especially if you embrace the fact that your kids are learning all the time. You don't need to just make everything look like the school model. You don't need to worry about what your friends and neighbors and family members think. I highly recommend the book Learning All the Time by John Holt. That completely changed the way that I looked at learning. And even if you have older kids, it's written more for parents of younger children, but even if you have older kids, you will find so much meaning in that book, and it really will change your entire outlook on what education, like true education, looks like. So that's all that I have for you today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one either here or over on Instagram. And if you like my work and would like to check out my Patreon page, I will leave a link in the description box for that as well. And I hope you have a great day.